It's the Coach's Corner Show, a production of WJER and Big Z Sports, in partnership with Williams Floorcovering, Sugar Valley Meats, Wood Electric, and Smartway Communications. And now, here is your host, Bill Hammerstrom, with Coach Dan Ifft.
We're here in Coach's Corner. Bill Hammerstrom for WJER and Big Z Sports alongside Dover head coach Dan Ifft, getting ready for the rivalry game against that team across the river. Coach, I heard you say you've played this team. This will be your 31st time?
Correct.
Playing New Philadelphia. Surprising that a young guy like you coached for like 16 years before you even came to Dover.
I did.
So when you got here, how was it explained to you about the importance of this rivalry, and what moment maybe did you learn about how large it is for these communities?
The whole week was kind of bizarre, that first week. There were a lot more things that we did then. We had Monday night, the Sportsman Banquet went for a couple hours. Tuesday was like they called it the Rally in the Alley, the Booster Clubs or something of that nature. Wednesday night was a freshman game. Thursday's a bonfire and pep rally here, and then Friday was a crazy day at school. By the time you got to Saturday, it was like once the game was over, it's just like, get out of town, just go somewhere and sleep for a while. But nonetheless, I kind of figured it out at that point. And then going home from the pep rally on Thursday, I thought, my gosh, I hope I don't disappoint these people. It was one of those deals.
Well, you haven't disappointed people a whole lot. You have a very good record in this rivalry game. When you look back at 30 games against New Philadelphia, do you remember the big victories? Do you lose sleep over the losses? Do you remember good games? What sticks out to you among those 30 years of memories for this rivalry?
Well, how blessed I have been in my life to be a part of it. I think I tell the kids every year at this time that how many teams are playing for absolutely nothing. I mean, they'll go in the stadium, there'll be 50 people there or whatever. There's not many people caring and things of that nature. But those kids love football as much as you do, but they haven't been blessed like you have to be a part of something so dynamic and so tradition rich as this rivalry. So that's kind of like what I feel about the whole deal. And I don't hate anybody from New Philadelphia. Just for that 48 minutes, we're going to go hard against each other. And actually, I've become, cordial friends with a lot of the coaches and administrators and people of that nature, and I think that's kind of the way it should be. You go after each other. It hasn't hurt the intensity on the field, but to keep civility and sense of humanity involved in there, I think is important. Or it ceases to become a rivalry and it just becomes something that nobody really wants to be a part of.
So you've been wearing pajamas to school this
week?
No, sir. No pajamas? You don't do the
I don't
dress-up
partake
days?
in the dress-up days. I'm beyond those days, except for I think it's Old Person Day tomorrow, so I kind of already have that costume ready to roll here.
You'll be able to pull it off?
I think I will.
So let's talk about this year's game. Your team has overcome a lot of adversity to be with just 2 losses, 7-2 coming into this contest. What are you looking for out of the Quakers who come in just right behind you at 6-3?
Yeah, they've done a wonderful job of kind of changing gears a little bit. Early in the season, they were more of a run team, it seemed to be. They did throw the ball and have success with it, but they seem to have expanded that a little bit as the season has gone on. I think they lost one of the running backs to an injury, and I believe he's back now. The kid that filled in was admirable as well. But they've got about 3 or 4 guys they like to get the ball to, and they do a wonderful job when they get there. And the quarterback, being a 3-year letter winner and 3-year starter, and a very competitive young man, he's kind of the straw that stirs the drink, and he's done a tremendous job with their offense. And then defensively, they've had the same coordinator for several years, and he's always put up a nice stout defense.
How's your team doing in this rivalry week? Do you have? I hear that you're an excellent speaker when you motivate the team. Do you have to say a whole lot to them this week? How are they feeling?
No, it's an easy week that way. I always tell people the hardest weeks are when you're supposed to beat somebody, like you play a 1-win team or something of that nature. Those are the weeks you got to stay on them, because even though they know in a film they watch that team is better than what their record may indicate, everybody in town is telling them they've got 1 win, they've got no wins, like the Lindsley team last week, and they were all we could handle. I've told the kids that going in. But this week, both teams get ready. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of motivating that has to go on. It's more of an X and O thing, get them to play the best they can play, and take kind of diffuse some of the pressure that is naturally put on, not intentionally, but is put on by the community, both communities, that you got to win this game type stuff. We always tell them, you don't have to win the game. You have to play your best, absolute best. If you do that, you let the chips fall where they may, and you either accept your win humbly or you gracefully tip your hat to the opponent, and then you move on. So that's been a big thing for me, and that's been, when we've handled it best, that's the way we've handled it. I think the worst games we've played, I think the kids have felt a lot of pressure, and maybe some regards that was my fault as well. Maybe I felt that same pressure, I don't know. But this week the kids are ready to play. They're excited. They've had a real good early days here of practice, and we're hoping to finish it up that way.
So 30 years of Dover-New Philadelphia rivalry. I'm sure you've seen it all in that time. Anything about this season leading up to this game that makes it different from past New Philadelphia-Dover games for you?
Not really. There's playoff implications. We're in the same region, obviously, so there's those implications as to if you win, will you host? If you don't win, you're not hosting, you're going on a road, and going on a road in the playoffs is okay, but you'd surely like to be at home, because you're looking at our region, a road game could be quite an extensive trip. And that's not something anybody really wants to take, at this point in the playoffs. So from that standpoint, I believe probably both teams are in, but it's like now trying to battle, see if one of us can get a home field type of situation. And I would think the winner may have a shot at doing that. But nonetheless, they're all a little animal and entity of themselves, a new group of kids. And I've got a couple kids now that coached their dads in this game in '95. So it's kind of interesting how everything kind of comes full circle.
All right, Dover head coach Dan Ifft. I'm Bill Hammerstrom for Big Z Sports and WJER Sports, getting ready for the rivalry game between Dover and New Philadelphia right here on your sports voice of the Valley.
This has been the Coach's Corner Show, a production of WJER and Big Z Sports, in partnership with Williams Floorcovering, Sugar Valley Meats, Wood Electric, and Smartway Communications. Big Z Sports and WJER, the combined sports voices of the Valley.